All right, guys. Well, welcome to this interview. Today we've got Victoria, who I think has worked with us for maybe in and around the year. Victoria, you'll probably know better than me on the specifics. But yeah, we've worked closely, and I think your progress has been amazing to see. I think what's also very interesting is your personal social media. Like you've got a good following, you clearly know what you're doing there. And I imagine you're using a lot of that, obviously, with clients that you're helping as well. So I think this is going to be very valuable for people to hear your story, most importantly, but then also your strategies, tactics, what you're doing, and all of that as well. So, Victoria, if you want to give a little quick intro, anything you feel is relevant for people to know, and yeah, we can then just get kicked off from there.
Yeah, sure. Well, thank you for giving me the time to help anyone who might need anything and any of the knowledge that I have. Happy to share. So I am Victoria. I am 26 years old. I am from Guatemala. If you don't know where it is, I don't blame you, but it's a country in Central America. It's right below Mexico. And I've lived here my entire life. I lived for a year in Europe doing my master's, but besides that, I've lived here my whole life. Um, I found Adam's program, I think, a year ago, and I've been probably around a year in
Mhm.
the program. And I started my agency right away. I tried starting my agency without the program, and I am so glad I switched very quickly to not try to do it myself because it's been very helpful. And yes, Adam said, I think I started my social media journey when I was like 12 years old. When Instagram launched, I started posting on social media and I had like five different accounts. I had like an account for my photography, my personal account. I had a fan account for an artist I was obsessed with. And I think that's when I started like discovering social media. And something people don't know is that a lot of my friends from school discovered those profiles, and I started getting like not bullied, but people would tease me at
Mhm.
school because of that. They thought that it was ridiculous,
Mhm.
and they would make fun of me. So I closed all of them, which I regret because I could have a lot of like before and afters of how I used to do social media versus now. And then when I went to study in Italy, I had a lot of time for myself and I just made the decision of not caring what anyone would think about social media. And I started doing social media again. It took me 9 months to have my first video go viral. I think I was stuck at 500 views in my videos for those first 9 months that I did social media. So I think that that has helped me a lot to be realistic on the pressure that we put on ourselves because it's social media is a great tool, but it's not a magic wand. So as Adam said, I used my social media a lot to assure clients that social media can get you excellent results, but when you are consistent, because I lived that firsthand. So yeah, I now have 27K followers on Instagram, and I've had plenty of videos go viral. So yeah, that's the basic intro of what I'm doing right now.
Amazing. Amazing. I love that backstory as well of because it's similar to me. I started dabbling with some things on social media back when I was around the same age. Now, nobody found out about it because it was like faceless. I was creating like gaming YouTube videos and things like that, right? So it was a little bit easier for me, but I totally understand. Yeah, that would have been difficult, definitely at those teenage years as well. And I guess then, Victoria, just to give people the full picture of say where you're at now. So, like you said, you've 27K followers on social media for your personal brand. With social media marketing, management, content creation, what's the kind of current status there? How many clients are you working with? And if you're comfortable sharing kind of the numbers as well that you're doing right now.
Yeah, sure. So I currently have 8 clients and I just hit the 3K
Mhm.
dollars per month last week. Um, and yeah, 8 clients, 3K, that's basically.
Nice, nice, cool, cool. And is it an even split in terms of the payments, or are some of them paying a lot less and some paying more?
No, they're pretty much the same. I'm doing between 8 posts to 10 posts with
Mhm.
each client, and they're pretty much the same.
Nice. Solid,
Mm.
solid. And Then just because I know people are going to be wondering this, right, Victoria? So you're based in Guatemala. Where are your clients typically based? Is there one specific area or is it a bit of a mix right now?
It's a mix right now. It's crazy because I would say that 50% are from Guatemala
Hmm.
because um, I've done a lot of events here. I've
Hmm.
participated in a lot of events. So people started hearing about me probably 2 months ago. And I've gotten most of the clients I've signed recently come from that.
Hmm.
People just hearing about me, and a lot of clients very satisfied with my work. So they tell their friends about my services. But I have clients from the US. I have one client from Denmark now, which is crazy. But yeah, mostly Guatemala right now.
Awesome. Awesome. And then let's say those two clients, right? So the US client and the Danish client, where did you get them or what channel of social media or outreach did you use to get in touch with them?
Yeah, so all the international clients that I have right now came from Upwork,
Hmm.
which I switched my outreach strategy from Instagram to Upwork a few months ago. I saw that a lot of students from the program were getting insane results from Upwork, so I decided to try it out. I was hesitant at first because you
Hmm.
have to pay for it, but honestly, the amount that you have to pay for for the return of investment is so worth it. So um, I have even considered not accepting any Guatemalan clients
Mm.
because I feel like Guatemala is still a little bit behind on social media, which is what I'm
Hmm.
trying to do. I started posting about social media probably 3 months ago, and the main reason I started posting on social media is because I feel like Guatemalans are a little bit behind, so they
Hmm.
don't really understand what social media does or how you can make it work in your favor instead of against you. A lot of people here still think and rely 100% of their sales in paid ads, which if you've been in social media for, I don't know, at least 3 months, you know that that's not the most sustainable solution. So it's really hard to sell the services that you believe in when no one believes in them. Like
Yeah.
I've encountered multiple clients in sales calls that tell me that I'm responsible for sales, and something important to know if you're doing social media is that yes, of course, the goal is to increase sales, but you're not responsible, like directly responsible for sales. So I'm trying to educate people in that aspect here because I've seen that people from the US and Europe have a better understanding of how social media works. Like I don't really need to spend an hour explaining
Hmm.
why we need to work at least 3 months together because it's not sustainable to just like I don't do my clients any favor by just working a whole month because you can't really do much. So it's a little bit frustrating, but what I like is that I get to meet them in person sometimes.
Mm.
Like
Hmm.
it's not a must, and I try to avoid it, but sometimes people like hiring me as a content creator. So it's not like I meet with clients just to meet them.
Hmm.
I meet up with them so that I can provide my services as a content creator. And I think that that's one of the main reasons people started hearing a lot about me because they started seeing my face on social media. They saw how I was creating content for other brands.
Mm.
But yeah, going back. Oh, sorry, I thought I had closed the session. Going back to your question, I've switched my outreach strategy to fully upward right now.
Nice, nice. Yeah, and I guess what you said there, Victoria, of like the Guatemalan clients, there's the education that needs to happen for them on look, social media. It's not the magic pill. It's going to help boost your sales, but there's a lot you guys have to do as well. I'm just going to bring in the traffic, and you've got to be able to have either a sales system, sales people, or whatever in place, right? I guess another thing that people listening in can kind of get from this is with Upwork, that's one of the key reasons why people do so well with it because the expectation, the sales process, a lot of that's already set in place. Not all the time. All right. You're still going to have business owners post on Upwork and they don't know what they're looking for and they're clueless and you need to educate them. But we're probably looking at that being 1 out of 10. 9 out of 10 are going there with a realistic expectation, like that, a realistic timeline. We're going to do this for minimum 3, 6 months, give it a fair shot. And we're not just going to pay Victoria five, 600 a month and just do nothing on our side. We're still going to be involved. We're going to work collaboratively together to make sure that her efforts and ours result in sales, result in products being sold and such. So just for people listening in, that's another key reason why Upwork works really well. We're not sponsored, by the way. We recommend it a lot, but it's just because it works. Simple as that. Something else, Victoria, I'd love to get your touch on is industries. Have you found like a specific industry or type of business to be easier to deal with? Or I guess across the eight, is that also quite mixed as well?
So I cannot say this with 100% of conviction, but to anyone listening, don't be discouraged by boring industries. What do I mean by boring industries? So as a girl, I would like to have yoga studios and beauty salons and beauty products as clients, because obviously that's like the industries and niches I feel most related with. But the clients that have like, I don't want to say boring, but like not the ones that you would be most passionate about, can become a great opportunity to learn about other industries. And at the end of the day, some of those quote unquote boring, like I feel like that sounds bad, but usually we feel like something like, I don't know, um I cannot have I do not have an example in mind, but some services are not a commodity, but they're
Mm-hmm.
a necessity.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't have to worry about sales because people usually buy from them. Like they have recurring clients since it's a necessity. Like it's their service and their product is something that like gets sold by itself. Like they don't really have
Mm-hmm.
to do much marketing. They just want to have a social presence.
Yeah.
So it's easier with those clients, I would say, because you take that pressure off of yourself, which you shouldn't have in the beginning, because as I was mentioning, like we usually put this pressure on ourselves that we should be responsible for sales.
Mm-hmm.
But working with those clients is amazing because they don't put that pressure on you. So it's easier to not put that pressure on yourself. And all you have to do, I think that our job as social media managers is not to like, there's this saying, I don't know if there's this saying in English, but in Spanish we have this saying that you don't have to invent. Oh yeah, you don't have to invent the wheel. I think that's
Mm-hmm.
the in English.
Yeah, yeah.
You don't have to invent the wheel. You just have to transmit their knowledge and all of the benefits that their audience can get from their service slash their product to the right audience. Like it's not like you have to come up with a product or a service from ground zero. All you have to do is like give them more exposure, give them the platform, give them the audience to discover the
Mm-hmm.
benefits of their services and products. So I've really enjoyed working with those industries. I never thought that I would work, for example, in the car industry. I have
Mm.
a client that does window tint, and it's been a great experience working with them because I've learned so much from them. And yeah, I don't know. It's been like smooth sailing with them. And I never thought that those industries would be so interesting to work with.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. I love that. And like you said, it makes sense as well, right? Because of the fact that if they're an established business, like, we have a couple of examples I'm going to show just for the group as well. I know with Megan, she kind of niched down with construction companies. And look, I'm going to assume similar to what you said, would that have been her dream when she started construction companies? Maybe, but maybe not, right? Maybe she would have wanted to work with different types of clients. But what she found was, like you said, they have a service. The service sells as long as we're using social media for awareness, bringing in some leads, yes, but like they have their thing that works. Fantastic. It's not very much them paying her going, okay, if we don't get any leads from your social media activity, we're done for. It's very much, we just need to have social media. It's that convenience service, kind of like you said there, Victoria, of like they just need the presence. They're not looking at it as like, okay, well, we spend 500 this month with Victoria. If we don't make at least 500 back, it's a fail. They're like, no, we just need a presence, right? There was another example we had recently at an event I did. I did like a mini mastermind with, I think, 8 people that we had at it. And one of the people there was Kira, who was actually on that screen as well. And one of her clients, she was talking about how she hasn't really gotten them any amazing results. And she's been with them for a year, like full 12 months. She's never gone viral, probably never gotten above maybe 10K views on any videos. So by default, like you said, being harsh on ourselves, we go, okay, that's a failure. It's not working. The client's going to be unhappy, blah, blah, blah. And I think she brought it up with the clients, to just say, hey, look, I'm aware that we're not doing as much as you want potentially. And the client was very much like, no, I'm super happy. This is great. It's all looking really good. Because the reality was that business owner was getting some leads, but how they were mainly using social media was they would run ads. Then when people would call them to get a quotation for, I think it was like roofing services or something like that, they'd get a quote and then they'd go to the Instagram, kind of just to see what's going on, see the past examples, see the proof, and that was that. So it wasn't that they needed leads coming from Instagram or sales to be happening right away. So again, I think that's really good you share that because again, starting off, people, myself included, we put that pressure and we go, okay, I have to literally transform this business or they're going to leave me. And so obviously it's two parts. It's finding the right client with the right expectation, but then also making that clear to the client yourself, making that clear. If they say to you, hey, look, I'm expecting this result in the first 30 days, don't just say, okay, cool. Just say, okay, look, I don't think we're going to be able to do that. I'd love to, and I'm going to try my best to do that, but that's not a reference point here for this. So yeah, we went off on a tangent there, but wanted to explain that just for people listening. But that
Yeah,
makes
no.
sense, like you said, of just different industries and some of the more boring ones actually working really well.
Yeah, no, and I want to add with about what you said. One of the best things I've done recently is clear communication with clients. Sometimes we forget that clients cannot see everything that's happening behind the scenes. So just telling them, listen, here's how we're doing, and also try to read the room. Some clients are not going to expect you to tell everything that's happening behind the scenes. Some are going to expect that, but keeping an open conversation about, listen, if there's anything that you like I try to meet with all of my clients at least once a month to present the new content plan and go through the metrics and analysis, etc. And the first thing I ask is how they felt. Like, is there any feedback that you can give? Are
Mm,
there any comments, anything we can improve? And usually most of the time they're satisfied. And even when I haven't been able to make every single post viral, which is not realistic as well, but
mm,
like usually they're satisfied with the services. And even if they're not, I think they really appreciate your willingness to listen to their feedback. So don't be afraid of listening to feedback. It's I try to put myself in their shoes and feel, how would I feel more comfortable if I were hiring myself. So I think that clients really appreciate when you do that. And as long as you set clear expectations, you're going to get rid of the clients that are not worthy of staying, and
mm-hmm.
you're going to keep the clients that are worth staying. So it makes
Yeah.
our jobs so much more um, pleasant to have.
Pleasant, right? Just more fun, more enjoyable clients
Yeah.
that you actually can, yeah, connect with, and you're kind of not friends, right? Like there's still very much that professional line, but it's not just, hey, what results did we get? It's like you said, how did you feel about this? Is there something I can do to make this better? Or is our process, could it be smoother for you? And vice versa. I think
Yeah.
as well, like people always overlook what you mentioned, a monthly check-in call. I like so many times I've told people, do a monthly check-in call. And they're like, I just don't really want to. It's like, okay, but it could be the difference between your client staying 6 months or 12 months. Genuine. That could be the only difference. Same results, same service, just more communication. Very simple, very easy to do. And, would you be willing to do one call a month if you're getting paid 500 a month? Yeah, well, why not, right? It's well worth it. So, anything else like that, Victoria, that comes to mind of things that you've kind of, I guess, seen since the beginning that maybe you didn't do at the start, or I guess there's just been more reinforced for you recently of practices that you wish you did from day one?
Yeah, I think what I just said, I know in the beginning it might be, you might get carried away with just getting clients because you need the money, you need the proof. And I don't regret that I did it. I was that person who would just accept any client that would
Mhm.
come my way just to get the money and get the experience. And I don't regret it because they helped me build my portfolio. I even accepted, I was talking with one girl from the program that if she was willing to do it, I would recommend doing something for free, if you're just starting out, if you don't have a strong portfolio and you need just like that little bit of traction. I did a few free work, like a few clients, I did it for free. It wasn't the best because I feel like when people don't pay, like even just like a fraction of money, they take your work for granted. Like there was
Hmm.
this client that I offered my services for free, and he stopped replying 2 weeks after working together. Like he
Right.
just
Yeah.
stopped replying. And that's when I realized, maybe people just take your work for granted when you offer it for free. So I wouldn't like it's like a is it worth it? Like, do I really
Mm.
need it? Because it helped me build my portfolio. It was stressful. Yes, it was stressful. Did it hurt? Yes, of course. Like someone just assuming that you're just going to give your work for free. But it's something that people can play with when they're just starting out. So
Hmm.
it might be something that people should consider. Obviously, as I said, take it with a grain of salt because people might just take your work for granted if you give it completely for free. You might offer a very attractive discount to avoid this type of situations. But once you have the right leverage and the right leverage to sell your services, don't be afraid to tell people that you cannot give them what they're asking for. So in the beginning, I was afraid of telling someone, I cannot guarantee you sales. I cannot guarantee that we're going to grow to 10K in 3 months because I just wanted to get the client. I was too focused on I need to get money, I need to get clients, that I wasn't realizing how that would lead me to just get nightmare clients. Like
Mm.
if uh, I've been like the first part of the program, I think I attended most of the calls with Ty, and everything I would talk about was nightmare clients. It was all nightmare clients. It was how do I deal with this person? And he would always say like that is so weird. And then I realized it was my fault. I wasn't
Mm.
the one filtering those clients. And the best way to filter clients is just being completely honest. Obviously, you're not going to tell them like don't have any expectations. Like you do
Mm.
need to sell a service that looks attractive for them, but if there's something that is just impossible, like you cannot, I remember there was this client that asked me that exact question. He said, so if I am paying you $1,000, how will you make sure that I get those $1,000 back? And I remember when I got that question, I got so nervous, like I started sweating and everything. And I wish that I would have answered him, I cannot guarantee that.
Mm.
I just froze when he asked that question because I was trying to look for the right answer, how to tell them like how to tell him, yeah, you're going to make that money back, but we cannot assure that. So I feel like if I could have done something differently, but I like at the same time I'm grateful that it happened the way it did because now I know what I know because of how it happened is to be completely honest with clients. And that also helps you. I think that the main reason that helps is because you set the right expectations. So they hire you knowing what to expect. So you avoid having clients ask you like why haven't we gone viral? Why haven't we grown to 10K followers if we've been working for 2 months? Or why am I not making any sales? So I think that that's the most valuable yeah, like change I've made since I
Hmm.
started.
Yeah, it's so common. We hear that a lot, Victoria, like you said, because it's really one of those things. Most times people through experience, they understand that. Like you would have seen of like you because I did it as well. I'll put my hands up and say it. Like I took clients, I remember probably my first month, I had a client pay 120 a month when my first client was paying 1,200 a month. So I was taking a client just because it was, like you said, it was something. It was like, okay, I can't say no to anything that comes in, I'll take it. And that would have been fine. But the fact is, we actually did a lot of work for $120 a month. So then there became a point where we had to go, hey, we can't do this anymore. So it would have been just easier to not take them on. But there's a lot in this game, that we just gain with experience and people have to go through. What you mentioned on free work, just want to chime in on that as well for people because it really can go either of two ways. Like we've seen some people do free work and it's the best thing they ever did because they worked with a client that was actually serious, provided them great content to work with. They posted that content, developed their own confidence, but also got a result and potentially even a testimonial, which is fantastic. If you can do that, like if we could guarantee every free client you did turned out like that, I'd be shouting at everybody to do just one free client, right? The downside is a lot of times it's that it's like you experienced. It's they come on board for a week or two, but they're not fully bought in. They haven't paid any money. When we pay attention. So then all of a sudden they just drop off. 2 weeks in, they disappear. Or when it comes time for you to actually get content from them and you give them the directions, hey, get me these photos, get me these videos. I'll do it next week. I'll do it next week. And it just never happens. So yeah, for people listening in, like that, I agree. I think it can be fantastic. So if you are looking at a deal that's a free client, just remember what we looked at there with Victoria, of just making sure they're the right fit, they have the right expectation, and they're going to carry on with their side of the bargain and not leave you empty-handed for sure. But those are, yeah, those are some solid, like you said, things that you could just, I guess, have done differently. But I also do think strongly that it's just part of the game, and you just kind of go through that journey, as well. Is there? I want to ask one more thing on that, Victoria. Is there anything more on, I'm going to say, like a mindset or personal level that held you back at the start that obviously now being in the game you can see so clearly? Like for me, right, I can see very clearly there was a whole year before I started of me thinking about starting. Obviously once I started to go, man, why didn't I just start? Like there was this fear, this imaginary fear just built up for so long. Why didn't I just give it a go? And it's obviously very easy to say once we're a few steps ahead, but I know it's always a good reminder for people that might be in the beginning stages to just hear that from someone that, like you, that's in the position that they probably want to be in, and you can say it with such clarity. So, yeah, is there anything that you feel at the start really held you back like that? If it was mindset, self belief, confidence, anything of that nature, because I know that's what a lot of people do struggle with.
Yeah. So my story is pretty particular because most of the students that are still in the program or that started, let's say like 6 months ago, I feel like um it happened to me different from them
Mm-hmm.
because I don't know
Mm-hmm.
if you remember, Adam, but I signed up for the program probably around July, August of last year. And then I decided to take a pause. So I paused the
Yeah.
program for like 2 months, I think,
Mm-hmm.
because I wasn't sure if that's what I wanted to do. I was in a particular stage of my life.
Mm-hmm.
But what I realized through those 2 months of just taking some time off to realize if this is what I wanted to do is like the question I constantly had in the back of my mind was, is this going to fulfill me? And I was so focused on fulfillment, fulfillment, fulfillment that I wasn't paying attention to what I needed. So
Mm-hmm.
obviously, feeling fulfilled is important. I love this quote that says that success without fulfillment is the biggest failure. That's true. But I didn't realize that if I didn't get my needs satisfied first, I wasn't going to be able to fulfill my passion either. So I remember that you say it on the program. I remember that there's a course that says like this is not like a fancy business. Like it's just doing social media for people. Like you're going to be most of the day behind your computer, like taking meetings and doing like it's not that fancy, but it's given me the freedom that I've always looked like I've always wanted. Like I have it right here. Like I brought my I remember that we did you hosted a call in the beginning of the year that was like I think it was called like how to achieve your goals for this 2025.
I remember
And
it. Yeah.
yeah, and I have it written down here, like what are the pleasures that I'm going to able to have from achieving all of the goals that I have, and which are the pains that I'm going to avoid. And if you read through every one of the pains and pleasures that I listed, all of them are needs, like
Mm.
live independently, not have to worry about not about how am I going to pay for a night out with my friends, or be able to buy myself nice things, or be able to like something like this is very personal, but like be able to pay for my bills. Like if I have like a medical emergency, or if I want to like how can I have that freedom? So I realized that I've been focusing so much on passion, which is important to not just set aside and forget about it, that I forgot that I first need to like yeah, satisfy my needs.
Yeah.
So if there's anyone discouraged that this is too much work and it's sometimes boring, yes, it is, but it's a great opportunity. And what I tell myself every single day is that I get to do this. Like not everyone gets to work from the comfort of their home and wake up, like there are some days that I wake up at 9 a.m. and it's not a problem. Like obviously I have to work until 9 p.m. that day, but like I'm not stuck to a schedule. Like I am location free, I am schedule free, I am financially free, which I wasn't 6 months ago. So um I don't regret that those months that I
Mhm.
took a break from this because I think I needed that. And it only made my conviction stronger that if I put in the work, the results and what I'll be able to benefit from are far greater than all the efforts that I need to put in.
Love that. Love that. That reminds me, Victoria, of probably one of the only things I remember from business classes, right? In like school and college, right? I'm sure a lot of people on the training will have seen something similar to this before. Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And it's exactly what you just mentioned, right? You were looking at, I guess, this piece here, or maybe esteem, self-actualization, realizing your full potential. But, in reality, sometimes you just got to start where you need the most help, which is like, hey, we got to get the basics dialed in. Like you said, freedom to have your own place, funds there for medical emergencies, time, all the stuff that you need. Boom, let's get that sorted. And all of this will come, and that's why I always say to people, social media marketing as a business model as well, it's a great stepping stone. So you don't have to do this for 20 years. And I often get this question from people of like, Adam, will this last for 20, 30 years? And I'm like, I don't know, genuinely. I don't know. I can't tell you yes, right? All I know is I've done it for quite a long time now and it's still working. It worked before I started because I saw content about it years and years and years ago. But there's also people that do it for 2 years, make some money, get that freedom they're looking for, build a bit of maybe savings and a nest egg, and then they go and do something else. But you take all the skills that you've learned from this into that. You're going to take sales, marketing, building out a team. Any business probably needs one of those three things, if not all three of them, right? So you're going to build up skills anyway. So I totally agree with you of like that sometimes it makes sense, take that break and get the clarity you need. But for a lot of us, we got to start where like what do I actually need in my life? And even if this isn't the most sexy thing to get me there, because trust me, there's nothing that's going to be perfect. Why not at least get it there? And then if you hate it when you're making 2, 3, 4K a month, fair enough. At least you can say you did it, you got to that point, and you realize it's not for you. But I always think like, why not get there first? Get there first, see how you feel, and if you still feel lost and lacking that purpose, as you mentioned, fair enough. Then you can look at changing for sure. So appreciate you sharing that because I know, like you said, that's obviously a personal thing. But again, that'll give people good reference as to how to approach that because you're definitely not the only person that's had those doubts for sure. One thing, Victoria, I really want to get just a quick couple of thoughts on is you mentioned at the start, obviously joining the program did help, which is obviously great to hear. I'm very happy that that is the case. You mentioned that you had kind of started to do it yourself, but obviously joining the program has helped. Just for people that might be having just started with us, I'd love to know if you have any kind of tips and advice on how to use the program the best way, because I think sometimes people will look at a program and go, well, the program's either good or it's not. But in reality, it's how you use the program is what determines your results. Everybody gets the same access, the same essentially opportunity, but not everybody's going to get the exact same results. Some people are going to take a while to get clients. Some people get clients very fast. Some people do this for 1 month, 2 months. Some people stick at this for 3 years. So just anything you have there that might be useful for someone that's just getting started, or even for somebody that's been there some time, but maybe they've not fully used it to its full advantage so far.
Coaching calls.
Yeah.
That's my answer. Seriously, I don't I wish I would have known the power of the calls, of live calls before, because I've done a few courses on various things, like not necessarily social media, and all of them included live calls. But no one would like motivate you as much as you do on the program to attend the coaching calls, to make the questions. At least I've always been the person who thinks that there are no stupid questions. I know that a lot of people think that. A lot of people think like that's going to sound so stupid, but I don't think there are. And if you have that belief, just erase it because that's going to hold you back a lot. You might hear people like me who've been in the program for a year make obviously like more advanced questions, but when I was starting out, I used to make like the most basic questions. Obviously you have to put in the work. Like what's helped me the most is attend every coaching call with a feedback of what I did from what we discussed like last week. Like it's
Mm,
not gonna help if you just attend the coaching calls and you don't do the work. But if you combine both, like it's just like social media. Like you can't expect your client cannot expect you to get great results without them putting in the work, without them giving feedback, without them sending the content. And you cannot expect results if you don't put in the work from what you discuss in the coaching call. But um, I know that every time I'm overwhelmed and I attend a coaching call, it helps a lot. Like I
mm,
remember there's a specific module in the program that says if you're overwhelmed, watch this. And the
mm.
overall message is just attend the coaching calls. And it's so true. Not a lot of people not a lot of programs offer the personalized attention that Adam and Ty give on coaching calls. So I think that we should take advantage of that. And I think that's the best. Oh, and community as well. Like
Mm.
every time I ask a question on the group chats, I always get an answer, like from other students. And I think that's very valuable as well because not everyone is willing to help, but for some reason in this community, everyone's willing to help. So it's also a matter of you giving back when you can,
Yeah,
but
for sure.
it's helped a lot.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's a really good point you made of like you can't post once into the group and expect to get, 100 replies. Like you got to obviously help some other people out as well and connect with people, make those kind of connections, because I think sometimes we can get in that mindset of like I'll post one question and if I don't get like the perfect answer that I need back from that, I'll never post again. Whereas in reality, you might have just posted on a day where the people that would have been able to answer your question just didn't see it. They might have been busy, right? So, don't give up on it just based on that. But yeah, really appreciate that, Victoria. We'll do some Q&A now, so we'll get some questions from the group. But before we do that, where can people find you? Obviously, I guess they can type in your name for social media, but if you want to give your handles directly so they can find you, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, so on Instagram, I'm gonna type in the username. On Instagram, you can find me with this under this handle.
Nice.
Yeah, that's the profile that I got to grow to 27K followers. And if you ever want to reach out, I check my messages frequently. So yeah.
Nice. Awesome. And for people listening in that aren't on the live, just so you know, it's by Victoria Valentina. Okay, so type that in, you'll find the Instagram from there. And yeah, let's take a look at if we got any questions here. Obviously, Victoria, really appreciate you taking the time as well, just to do this. Obviously, very valuable for people. So thank you so much, and hopefully you've enjoyed it as well.
I mean, it's been lovely. Thank you so much.
Cool. Awesome. All right. Well, we have a question here from Dimitri. He said, thank you so much for the info. Very interesting. And he said, what do you think helped you to land your first client the most?
Mm, let's see, because the first client I landed was the one that I worked for free. So
Mm.
I don't think that counts. But the first client I landed, so obviously it's a combination of things. So the first one is outreach. I was doing Instagram outreach when I got my first client. And I think I sent probably 1,000 messages on Instagram to
Hmm.
get my
Hmm.
first client. I know I was feeling so unmotivated to continue, but right when I was like and whenever I wanted to quit, I just reminded myself that I'm just one day like from getting my client. I am one day less from getting my first client, one day less, one message away from getting my first client, etc. So that was the first thing. And the second, I think on the sales call, sales is something that might sound intimidating if you've never done it, but sales is really just asking questions about what the client needs and telling them how you can help them. So you really don't have to sell them on anything that like I go back to the same message to the same message. You don't have to invent the wheel. You just have to tell them this is what I've done before, or if you haven't done it before, this is what's working. That helped me a lot, like doing a lot of research and telling them this is what's working currently. Like the word what's working currently in 2025 works a lot because people obviously want to know what's actually working. So showing them trends, showing them, I used to do a lot of research. Like this client, my first client was, how do you say this in English? They were like a body therapy studio. So they did a lot of like exercises for injuries and like athletes, etc. So I researched what was working in their industry and I presented those examples in the call. And I think that gave them a lot of confidence that I knew what I was doing because I took the time to investigate specifically in their industry. So if you've never if you don't have any experience, just do research and show them what you can do for them, like what they can expect from you. So obviously choose videos and topics that you feel like you are going to be able to deliver for them. But if you do have experience, just tell them like, okay, this is what you need, this is what we can do. And that's everything a sales call is.
Love it. Love it. Yeah, it can be so scary, like so scary when you're starting, but like you said, it really is. It's just a conversation. And yeah, it's funny as well with the Instagram, right? Just when you're about to potentially like, give up or feel very demotivated, it's like boom, things happened. And whenever I hear that, I think of how many people did give up at that point, and I'm like, yeah, you know.
Yeah, that could have
So
been you.
it could have, yeah, it could have been any of us. We got a question here from Cahill, Victoria. Well, he also said, congratulations, amazing efforts. So nice to see. He
Thank
asked, this is probably asked and answered, but do you think Upwork is the right first step for getting your first client? I guess in your case, it was Instagram. So you obviously know the proof of both can work, which is true. All platforms can work, but definitely curious now that you're using Upwork. Do you think it's better to start there?
you. I think so. I think I personally prefer Upwork because people already have the expectation, already know what they're looking for. Like most clients, not
Yeah.
everyone is going to know what they're looking for, but you're not going to have to come up to the client and tell them, I suggest this, I suggest that. Obviously, once you get more experience and you look at a job proposal and it's a good job proposal and you feel like there's are some twitches here and there that could like improve what they're suggesting to do with social media, like you can suggest that. But in the beginning, if you don't really have that much experience and knowledge on what to recommend your client, they already know. So your job is not to sell them the idea, your job is just to find the right client. So I do think that Upwork might be the best option because you get to decide. It's like you have this pool of job proposals of job offers to choose from, and you just have to choose this one is the one I feel most aligned with, and this one is the one that I would like to have as a first client. So
Mm.
you get to choose the industry, you get to choose the services, you get to choose the amount of posts, etc. So I think it would be the best platform to start with.
Yeah, yeah, I agree for sure. Because I did Instagram mainly as well. That's where I got my first client and most clients. And yeah, looking back, like you just skip a lot of the process because on Instagram, you got to take somebody from maybe kind of interested to paying you money, whereas Upwork is like you're taking them from interested to paying your money. It's, very, very close to making the sale. So definitely do agree. And I think that we can kind of see that proof in the community over the last maybe 3 to 6 months. Like there's people coming in and they're getting clients very fast, and it's typically true Upwork. So it does
Yeah.
seem to be a bit of a shortcut for sure. We got a question here from Sarah. She also said, super valuable. Thank you. So good to see. On average, how many proposals do you usually send out in a week? And then there's a second question, but we'll just do that one first.
Okay. So right now I have outreach on pause because I need to
Mhm.
if you heard me talk about this on coaching calls, I need to hire someone and I haven't been able to find the right person. But usually when I have like the normal amount of time that I dedicate to outreach, I think I try to aim for like 8 a week on Upwork. That's what I am capable of, at least right now. That's the main reason I have to hire someone because I need to free at least 3 hours of my day to continue doing outreach. But I try to aim at 8. The first week I did Upwork proposals, I did only 4. Like that was my goal. It took me, I remember there was this specific proposal I did that took me like an hour and a half. Like I really put in like my mind and work into it. But now that I've gotten better, I am able to do between 8, sometimes 10, but that's what I aim to.
Nice, nice. And it's similar to if anybody has seen the whole Upwork section in the program, like it's not a specific number that you need to hit every day, every week. Obviously, do try and do some, right? Like don't just not do proposals because you're making excuses, but also don't just try and do two or three a day for the sake of two or three per day. Like Victoria said, like some of them might take you an hour, some might take you 20 minutes, some you'll get done really quick, right? But make sure that once you've written it, you can confidently say, that's damn good. Because if you can't say like that's really, really good, like I've really, if you were the business owner, you would understand, wow, they've understood everything I mentioned and they've gone above and beyond, then just don't apply because you will just waste your connects doing that. So do make sure
Yeah.
that the effort is behind it.
Yeah, Upwork is definitely a game of quality instead of quantity,
For sure.
whereas Instagram might be the game of quantity.
Exactly.
So if you, yeah, I take back what I like. I don't take it back because obviously it's useful to know like how many proposals someone else is doing. But
Mhm.
if you're only capable of doing one a day, focus on that because I think you mentioned it on the program, but if you are not the best proposal, you just wasted your connects because
Exactly.
like you're gonna hire one person.
Yeah.
So between the 20 people that are applying, you need to be the absolute best. So it's more important to focus on quality.
Definitely, definitely. At our last event that we did, our like big in-person events, we did one in April, right? And we had somebody speak where her close rate on Upwork was insane, meaning that for I think every 10 proposals she'd send out, like she'd get multiple clients from 10 proposals, which is crazy. You're never going to do that with 10 Instagram messages or 10 cold calls. It's just not going to happen, right? But exactly as you said, like her entire process was if it's not 10 out of 10, I'm not going to send it. I'm only sending those that are 10 out of 10. So she might only do one a day, sometimes two a day. Sometimes, okay, there wasn't any good job today, so I haven't applied to any. And over the week, it's not a lot of quantity. But again, if that quality is behind it, you've still got a really, really good shot with Upwork. The
Yeah.
second question Sarah had on that then was when you sign a client, are you handling all the service delivery yourself? I know obviously, yeah, you've got the team member issue right now, but I'll let you handle that one.
Yeah, so definitely in the beginning, I was doing everything myself. I created the graphics, I did the editing, I did the whole service delivery. But once I got to 4 clients, I hired my first freelancer, which was my video editor. And then, like, very closely after that, probably 2 weeks after that, I hired my graphic designer because obviously I didn't want to do it at first because I really enjoy editing. I feel like it's like a hobby at this point. But if I really want to grow the business and become a CEO one day, which is what I am aiming for right now, you do have to delegate at a certain point. But yeah, in the beginning, I was doing everything myself, and it really helped me know how long it would take, it should take a graphic designer to make a post, how long it should take a video editor to edit it. So if a video editor were to come to me and tell me, like if I was looking into hiring and they would tell me, oh yeah, I take an hour editing, I would know that they were not a good fit because obviously if you want to hire, you want to delegate it to someone who's doing it just as good as you or even better. So I usually take about like 20 to 30 minutes to edit. So I am looking for someone who's going to do it just like me or even better. So in the
Mhm.
beginning, I was doing everything myself, but it's going to get to a point for me was for clients where you are going to need to start delegating.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And with that as well, Sarah, like there are people in the program that delegate from day one. But like Victoria said, if you do have the interest, it is going to help because you're going to be able to understand when you hand off a video what to look for, and the process. So just keep in mind, like you can outsource right away, but you'll be a little bit more in the dark, of kind of just hoping that they'll do the right thing. So just keep that in mind. And then we've one more question here from Teneva, which is the portfolio and other files one of the most important things when applying and sending a proposal? Which I assume, yeah, that's for Upwork.
Mm, the portfolio and other files. I would say the portfolio doesn't matter if the proposal is not good, because
Yeah.
obviously they're going to see their portfolio if they open your application. So if
Hmm.
your portfolio is not good, they're not gonna get to the portfolio.
For sure.
Portfolio is very useful because if we are like in the creative industry, like if you're a photographer, if you're a designer, if whatever, portfolio is your strongest, like one of your strongest assets. but the proposal needs to be the most important thing, because like in order to get to the portfolio, first I need to open the proposal.
Yeah.
Um, I just tried the client profile on Upwork because I am hiring this person that I need to hire.
Hmm.
And the first thing that I noticed was obviously the proposal of, so the first 225 characters. And once I opened it, I did head to their portfolio, because obviously I would need to look at examples of what they've
Hmm.
done. So I think a combination of two. Obviously you need to get the two right, but the first time is the first step is the proposal, definitely.
Definitely. Definitely. 100%. 100%. Another thing with that, Teneva, we found somebody during the week, we were reviewing a proposal, right? And they essentially had their portfolio in it, right? But it was like buried, so it's very difficult to find it. So you want to make sure you're putting the portfolio like somewhere easy to find, maybe near the top, not as the first line, but like somewhere in the first part of the portfolio. And then also when you're linking to it, like Victoria said there, like if I'm hiring, I will just immediately click the portfolio, just default. I will just open it, click the portfolio, and then I'm making my kind of judge of character almost based off of that. But there are going to be certain business owners that hire differently, and they are going to read your full thing. They're going to read your entire proposal first. And so you need to make sure that you're selling the portfolio. Like, don't just say, here's the portfolio, like link it. If they've said, hey, I'm looking for a social media manager that can do X, Y, and Z on TikTok, Instagram, and la di da. When you're going to then put in that line, say, hey, here's my portfolio, try and link it back to what they've just mentioned. Try and sell them on it. But yeah, it's definitely not the most important, because you do need to get them to open it first before they even see it. And we'll take, let me see, we got a question here from Eric. Any tips for looking for high quality jobs to apply for?
So definitely the basics that are covered in the program. So mentioning the industry or the niche. Some might mention the Instagram handle, which is very useful. Trying to not apply to AI generated posts. When I mean AI generated, of course, all of them are going to use AI. I used AI to make my own job post, but I I um I didn't copy paste it. Like I
Hmm.
modified it, because obviously it's not. I think that shows that they're not serious about hiring. They're just like, yeah, I don't think that's going to be a high quality job. Don't be too harsh on that, because I've heard some people say that they're not going to apply to anything because they're all AI generated. So it's important to specify that it's just like those that have like lots of emojis, and like we know when
Yeah.
someone just copy pasted it. So definitely that. Very short job posts that are just like one paragraph. This is what we're looking for. Contact us if you're this. That's a poor quality job. Um, I think that the more info the client gives you, like their industry, what they're looking for, I think that when they sound personalized, like when they, for example, little things like we're looking for someone who's bilingual, like
Mm.
that's something that AI wouldn't AI wouldn't come up with that. So it sounds personalized. Or when they say like, I remember this job post and I got the client. They said that this is our tone. Like our tone is nostalgic and cute and friendly. I think that those things that sound personalized, like, we're serious about who we want to hire and we know what we want. So give us your best proposal.
Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. Like you can't avoid AI. Everyone's going to use, well, not everyone, but like 90% of business owners will use some of it. But do look for that extra step, because if it's the classic, we are seeking a social media manager, and then like a basic list of what any social media manager would do, no info about their company. Are they serious? Maybe. It could be a billionaire posting that job, but I highly doubt it. I probably think it's just someone that's maybe I'll hire somebody, maybe I won't. We'll see. I'll put it out there, see what happens. That's not who you want to work with. You want to work with someone that's like, yep, decision made, budget put aside, ready to hire somebody. Let's get to work.
Oh, and
All
obviously
righty.
the hourly rate. You don't want to accept anything
Mm-hmm.
below $8. They're
Yeah.
going to try to like take advantage of you.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. for sure. And with that, Eric, we have in the Upwork section, we've kind of like a full breakdown. We actually have an Upwork job checklist as well. It's just like a spreadsheet that you can just open every time you open a job because it's gonna, because a lot of people, when they go to look at jobs on Upwork, they get confused and overwhelmed, right? It's like, oh, is this good? Is this bad? Just look at the checklist. It's not perfect, right? Because it's just going to give you the basics that we look for, but at least you can just tick off each of them and then give yourself, okay, I'm 80% confident it's good, go ahead and apply. Or I'm 80% confident it's terrible, don't apply. And then at least you have a bit of a guide from there.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. All right. Well, Victoria, appreciate you coming on. We've answered all the questions, so I'm sure everybody else is also very appreciative of your time. I'm going to put a post in the group after this to see if people have some feedback in Telegram. So I'll send that in right away. And yeah, guys, hope you all enjoyed and make sure to keep an eye on what Victoria is up to.
Yeah, thank you so much, Adam. And I hope I was able to help at least one of you. And if you have any questions, you can reach out to me in Telegram. I talk with a lot of people from the program and it's also, yeah, don't be afraid to reach out.
Awesome. Well, have a good rest of your day, Victoria. We'll see you soon, okay?
Thank you. You too.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Have a good one.